title of her speech is Let the Cash Flow. With a slow U.S. economy, slow growth rate, and high unemployment, we are seeing the highest entrepreneurial activity in 16 years. That, fellow business owners, means competition. How do you sustain a healthy profit margin amidst these tough economic times? In the uncertainty of the economy concerns you and your business, you are in the right place to hear Chia-Li, an award-winning author of Show Me the Money, and her newest book, Work Toward Reward, as she describes in detail how she helps you to increase the equity value of your company. Chia-Li is Chief Strategist of the Value Growth Institute, a faculty member of the American Management Association. She welcomes you to her newsletter and blog to hear her succession strategies for women entrepreneurs, which, by the way, was named a top small business resource by the New York Times. Please welcome our speaker today, Chia-Li, with a spotlight on a sustainable future. Let the cash flow.
What is one of the outdoor extreme sports that you have done in the past? One outdoor extreme sports you have done in the past. Anybody? Skateboarding. Snowboarding. Great. I want you to think about the very first time you did that sport. Right? The very first time. And hold that thought and we'll come back to that. Now, in my experience, the entrepreneurs are absolutely the risk takers. Well, I suppose I'm one of them. I went on to my first whitewater rafting trip last year. And you see, it's a huge risk for me to go on to that trip. Why? I don't swim. It's a huge risk. Now, to minimize my risk, I asked to sit closest to my rafting guide. And to double ensure my safety, I asked my daughter to come the trip with me. She's Girl Scout certified in these type of extreme outdoor sports. In other words, she was my additional safety net. Now that day we were on the Nantahala River. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yeah. Nantahala River for about 2 hours on that trip. And I'm sure you know that 2 hours is filled with heart-pounding rapids going through the river and tons of excitement, splashes of water, as well as getting soaking wet down here. Of course, tons of laughter along the way. Now, the purpose of that trip was to go through the end of the 2 hours trip to safely pass a 9-foot drop of a fall and still stay in the boat and continue to have fun. That day, I noticed something different. I saw a lot of the boats got drifted to the riverbank, as well as got stuck in the middle of the river. And I couldn't help wondering why these boats don't have a rafting guide like us. So I asked my rafting guide, Lee, and I say, Lee, how come these boats that get stuck don't have a rafting guide? And this is what Lee told me. He said, you know, people want to come out to this trip, do it by themselves, just to save money. Unfortunately, only the experienced guy who knows the water enough can help you navigate and maneuver to the finish line successfully. Now, in my annual business value driver study, we found majority of the business owners have hard time or feel challenged about maintaining a healthy profit margin in their business. So, as a guess, what do you think the percentage of the business owners feel challenged to maintain a healthy profit margin? Yes? 90%. 90%? Do we have any takers?
95.
95? Well, thank you for participating. The answer was 60%. 60% of the business owners feel challenged to maintain a healthy profit margin. Now, my husband TC, his parents, in direct translation, in Chinese, we call them in-laws. Do you guys call them here as well? Now, just like any other immigrants in the US, my in-laws came to this country many moons ago. And like most of the immigrants that you probably know of, they will automatically enter restaurant business. Right? And probably because most of the common reason that I heard was perhaps they don't feel like they are having a good communication skill in English. Or perhaps they feel like food is something that they are familiar with. Or perhaps they know somebody who is already in a restaurant business and doing just okay, with a satisfactory lifestyle. My in-law did the same thing many moons ago. However, over the years, I have found many immigrants who enter the restaurant business. They told me two exact same things, no matter who I talk to. Number one, they will never allow their children to enter restaurant business. Number two, restaurant is too much of hard work, labor intensive, you never get breaks, and it's just not worth the effort. I personally believe that most of these restaurants they're referring to probably don't have a restaurant that is scalable, and that's causing them to say those two things. As a matter of fact, the three boys of my in-laws, including my husband, none of them are in restaurant business. And because of that, my good friend and a client, Philip now, entered this business 13 years ago with a very different mindset. He entered into a complete different platform. You see, he started his business with his wife, Christina, right at their kitchen table 13 years ago, selling sushi box. Now, I'm sure you know the business retail in the restaurant has changed over the year. For example, many years ago, you can still go to a traditional Chinese restaurant, right, and still order traditional Chinese food. Then it moved to buffet, all-you-can-eat buffet, right? And then it moves to now a sushi presentation. I bet you didn't know those sushi are made by Chinese. And that's what Philip did 13 years ago. He decided to completely change the mindset of how to operate in the business. He sells sushi box, nothing sexy, to upscale grocery chains such as Whole Foods. He sells to cafeterias such as in a university or medical center, for example, Carolina Medical Center. He even sells to airport, including Charlotte Airport. Today, his business, he sold sushi, employed well over 400 employees and contractors across 28 states in the U.S. And his company also have been named 3rd consecutive years the fastest growing company in the U.S. by Inc. 5000. Now, I don't know about you. When I started out in the business, I read Michael Berger's E-Myth book, right? Mm-hmm. Did I pronounce his name correctly? Michael Berger. Do you remember what the 3 categories that he introduced in the book describing entrepreneurs? Anybody? No? All right.
Visionary.
Visionary. Okay. Risk taker. Okay. Let me give you my take of the definition. There are 3 major categories, just like how Michael Berger described them. First one is technician. Second one is manager. The third one is business architect. I'll give you my definition. E-Myth has a different type of definition. Technician means that a business actually is able to issue a salary to the business owner less than $100,000 annually. Please remember, I say salary, not revenue. Okay, there's a major difference there. Manager means that a business entity can issue an annual salary to the business owner right about less than $200,000 a year. And business architect means the business entity can issue an annual salary of more than $250,000 to the business owners, plus lots of business equity coming back to the business owners over time. Philip now is a business architect, and many private business owners aspire to become. Now, over the years, I worked with so many different entrepreneurs, and I found that there are top three categories describing why entrepreneurs go into business. So I'm going to ask you these top three categories to participate. You can go ahead and vote one or more categories if you like. The first category is, oh, I'm in the business because I am so passionate about what I do. Show of hand, if that's the reason that you're in business. Okay, thank you. The second category is, I am in business because I want to have full flexibility and control of my career direction. Thank you. And then the third category is, forget about that. I'm in business because I want to make more money and becoming financially independent. Show of hands. Okay, look around yourself. All right, thank you for participating. In my annual business value driver study, we found 67% of the entrepreneurs are in business because they want to make more money and becoming financially independent. But how do you, as a business owner, actually able to materialize from your business and becoming financially independent? Well, we have found in my business value driver study that there are specific methods of helping business owners to gain insights and potentially avoid unfavorable triggers, which potentially can decrease the business value over time. Just like my whitewater rafting trip earlier that I mentioned. With the right guy on your team, you will be able to accomplish those goals and objectives. Now, as I mentioned earlier, when I was on the whitewater rafting trip, because I had a guy in my boat, and I have my safety net of my daughter in the boat with me, I was able to get to the finish line successfully. Plus, I was able to claim my reward of the day, which is fun. I want you to think about your business the same way. Think about your business equity value is like a reward back to you as a business owner. You want to make sure that even if you are expanding your business for the reason of needing cash, you want to make sure that you set up your business to be a win-win situation for both you, your family, or potentially investors or buyers. As I mentioned earlier in my business value driver study, we had already identified many different methods that can help the owners to achieve that. I want you to think about that business value coming into your business as a reward that you can claim. And please set a goal in your business to be able to claim that reward anytime profitably. Now, I asked you to think about the very first time when you did your outdoor extreme sports. We've got snowboarding there, and then we've got skateboarding. Think about it. When you did it the very first time, did you do it with a guy or without a guy?
I did it myself.
You did it yourself.
They were watching me.
So you do have a guy. Someone is watching
He
you.
was far away though. He was watching, so he could laugh.
All right, you have a guy. How about you?
Oh, totally.
Totally with a guy. And the reason you have a guy?
So I didn't break anything.
That's right. So I want you to think about that too in your business. With the right guy, you will potentially be able to claim your reward, just like the guy that you have in your outdoor extreme sports. Now, if I can be any assistant or guide in helping you creating that equity value that you can claim over time to materialize your financial independence, please do pick up this information card as you make your way out today, and feel free to ask me any questions. Thank you.